is everyone doing? It has been a while since I posted. I'm guessing every bit of 2 months, close somewhere along those lines, maybe even a little longer. I hope not. But in the meantime, I've just been very excited to see the activity on the channel. The subscriptions are just coming in daily. Thank you so much. You have no idea how much that means to me. We cracked 2,000, which I know is nowhere near like, 100,000 or a million or whatever, but it is a bit of a landmark, and so we appreciate it, and we appreciate all of the positive feedback. Some people seem to be taking me to task about the Jake E. Lee case study, which has gotten a lot of views. It's funny. I honestly thought out of the case studies that I've done so far that it would have received the least views, but it seems like it's the hottest one. And people are like, "You need to listen to Badlands," and blah blah blah. And hey, I'm sorry, I didn't really listen to Jake after Ozzy, and just bad stuff with Badlands is pretty good. Had a great singer, didn't they? I guess there's the loss there. It's tragic. But yeah, Jake's great. We love him. We've listened to some Badlands stuff. Sounds pretty good. But anyway, a little bit of a different focus today. I was involved in an incident about 3 weeks ago today where I received a pretty serious injury to my left hand. It's a bummer. Let's just say that something impacted it. I'm not going to reveal just yet what it was because I've got some coworkers that are just dying to know, and I've been messing with them. So anyway, it was the knuckle here on the thumb on the left hand. Maybe we'll, put a picture up or something. I don't know if you can really see it because it's kind of healing, but it's a bummer because, full range of motion on the thumb should be like this, and that's as high as I can go. So not good. So old Johnny is scheduled for surgery Monday morning. This is the first time I've ever had stitches. It was bled like a faucet. It was horrible. And now, upon further inspection, it appears that we have to have some surgery. A bummer. I'm not looking forward to it at all. So that's going to put me out of the loop for playing for probably the better part of, I'd say about 3 weeks, 6 weeks total recovery. But, maybe we can do some storytelling or something in the meantime, or talk about the things I hate about heavy metal, which has been on my mind a little bit. I'm a metalhead. I love it, but there's some things I hate about metal. Maybe we'll talk about that one of these days. So anyway, we do have some surgery coming up. It sucks. The little video that we played at the beginning, that was actually the day after I had my stitches taken out, so that was a week ago, and it seems like, for the most part, everything as far as my ability to play is still there. It gets a little, it feels like my hand is you just can't stretch it out with the thumb. And I didn't realize just how critical the thumb is to your fretting hand. It's not like you're playing the guitar like a piano. And say you didn't use your thumb, although you do when you're playing piano. Say you didn't, you can still attack it that way. But with guitar, as you know, you anchor your hand with your thumb. And I was watching some of my older videos. It's amazing how many different positions your thumb assumes. Sometimes it's just in the back, laying it cool. Sometimes it's draped over the neck. It's at an angle. And so it becomes a very critical anchor and a pivot for your fretting hand. I'm going to say left hand in this case, and although you might be a left-handed guitar player, but your right hand, whatever. So we're going to the best hand specialist in the United States here in Louisville, Coots and Kleiner or something like that. I think they were the first to do a hand transplant, and this should be a pretty minor procedure for them. Tendon has been severed, compromised. They're going to go in there, cut it open, suture it, tie it up, whatever, sew it up, and then we're looking at a couple of weeks of misery. So I'm not looking forward to that, but I'll tell you what, it really, there for a week, couldn't play at all. Then after a week and a half, I could play a couple of little things, and then after a couple of weeks, I really just went for it, and that's what we loaded there in the beginning. And it was good to know I could still play, but I tell you, it's just like these worst-case scenarios come to your mind of, oh my God, they're going to screw it up. I'm thinking about like getting a permanent marker and drawing a line to this thumb and say, fix this thumb so they don't accidentally work on the other one. You hear these war stories, but I think they're pretty well in charge of what they're going to do, and they know what they're going to do. So it's a little scary though. But in the meantime, I haven't been really buying any new guitars. I know people are wanting case studies. I've got a few going simultaneously in my head, a little bit of pre-production on some, just to kind of clue you in. Definitely want to do a Tony Iommi one. A friend of mine has loaned me his Epiphone Tony Iommi Signature SG, which plays and sounds killer. I've been working on Steve Vai. That's very hard. I'm not really a guy that can learn Vai very easy. Can't really learn anything very easy, but there's a lot to be said about him. People are wanting some Zakk Wylde. Just, I'm kind of a casual listener to Zakk, although he was killer on Generation X. John Sykes, a lot of people want to talk about John Sykes. John Sykes is a killer guitar player. I just really like that guy. His work with Whitesnake was good, and I'm sure somebody's going to chime in. You should hear this, you should hear that. I have a limited exposure of what I've listened to because I don't really listen to a lot of music. And if I'm going to listen to a guitar player, I listen to Yngwie. And obviously, the one we're really waiting for is the Yngwie Malmsteen case study, and that'll probably be a two-parter because he is my favorite, and I think he's had such an impact. A lot of guys have in the world of guitar. So I don't really know what else to say. I'd like to kind of maybe play along a little bit because I'm just kind of trying to play as much as I can here in these last couple of days before my surgery. Not to be dramatic, but I am dreading it. Very thankful that it wasn't worse than it was, but I mean, it was a gash. It was just nasty, and it's still swollen. Again, maybe if I can find some pictures on my phone, I'll upload it maybe now. But we're looking forward to getting back into the channel, and I hope that you enjoy this. I just cannot thank you enough for your support, the messages, the comments, the views. Just been very supportive. It is my favorite musical outlet right here, the YouTube channel. We love it. So without further ado, we're going to find some type of a backing track. Maybe we'll do 2. Maybe we'll do 5. I doubt if anybody has the patience to watch that many videos, to listen to that much. And maybe somewhere I'll interject what really happened to the hand. Maybe I won't. But again, appreciate everybody. Please, if you can, like, comment, subscribe. It means a lot. And I appreciate everybody out there. Hope you all have a great day. Let's get down to some shred. might add, as an addendum, that first of all, I'm really out of practice. I have not been able to play due to the hand injury, and even before that, I was out of practice and lacking a little motivation, as you can tell, the gaps in between the video. But I will say this: this is number 2, I guess, from our little overseas place. Not to emphasize about that because I'm done buying guitars, and I really don't want to talk about those guitars anymore. But you can always email me if you do want to know something, I guess, because I'd rather kind of keep it off of the channel just for controversial reasons. Whatever. The strings on this are the Yngwie Malmsteen signature strings, and so they've been on there for a couple of months. I haven't played it too terribly much, but I mean, that just kind of put it through the ringer. And, I was always so worried about breaking strings as far as like an 8 or whatever, but these things are really rugged, and I'll say this much as well. They really stay in tune. I mean, you can just abuse these things, and they stay in tune better than my Ernie Ball hybrids. That is for sure. So anyway, the strings are holding up. I'm out of practice, so forgive the sloppy playing. It was very sloppy, I know it was, but we're going to get back after this surgery, and my thumb will be able to go all the way up. And how was it that I hurt my finger? It reminds me of the episode of SpongeBob SquarePants. You ever watch that show? Or what's that, Crab Burger or whatever? I think that's what it's called, or Krabby Burger or whatever the heck it is for Mr. Crab. And they were looking for the recipe, and my kids were so funny. They were small, and they were like watching. They're like, Dad, they're going to do the episode where they're going to give away the recipe for the Krabby Patty or whatever it is. And they said, but every time they watch it, they cut it off at the end. It just gets cut off. And I was like, well, that seems strange. So I watched it with them one time, and I was like, well, it's intentional. They're building this up to this big reveal, and then they just cut off, and they really never told you what the recipe was. So being a big fan of SpongeBob, what I did to my hand was this.